So we're outside looking at a couple of different dump trailers that we sell here on the lot. We have a quality steel and aluminum dump trailer. This is a 7x14 model. And then we have a CJ heavy hauler over here. It happens to be a 16 foot. We got a 14 foot next to it that has the same build structure. What is the difference between a quality steel dump trailer and that CJ heavy hauler? So this is actually the CJ heavy hauler, and I told you we're comparing it to quality steel and aluminum. This says quality steel and aluminum on it. I just told you it was a CJ heavy hauler. These are really made under the same house. Quality steel and aluminum makes two different lines. They've done that for different dealer setups, different build structures. So just kind of understand that we're really talking about the same brand that has established two different lines. If we go to the back of the trailer, then you start to see some of those different stickers here. So as we go to the back of the trailer, now we're seeing the big sticker CJ heavy haulers. Both of these trailers have a lot of similar things with them. We really want to highlight what are you getting with this brand quality steel and aluminum as we walk around the dump trailer. So let's go back to that root question. Who is quality steel and aluminum? This is a company that's been established here, and they're made out of Elkhart, Indiana. So this is fairly localized here to this Midwest region. We've sold a number of different dump trailer lines. Generally what you get with a quality steel and aluminum product is they are understanding that, number one, I think their name is very fitting, quality steel and aluminum, because when I think of their products, I think of quality. And also probably they're very value driven company. They're not going to have that crazy high price in the market. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck with this brand. So first of all, as we work from front to back, we're going to see that they start you with an adjustable coupler. So depending on the size of your rig, how tall it is, you can move this up and down. You could change this to a pintle hitch instead of this 2 5/16 ball that comes standard. So it's really nice that they give you that right off the rip. And then as we go back, I think they give you a pretty long nose here, and they give you a much heavier duty jack than you're going to see on most standard trailers. This has the ability, if I go over here, to very quickly drop this jack leg. So it's really nice that they're giving you that I could hook onto there, and I could pull this pin and just pop it up real quick, than taking all the time to crank it up and down. I think that they give you a pretty big box up front here. You got a really large hydraulic pump, you got the battery. We'll get into some of those differences. To charge this battery, when you plug it into your truck or whatever is hauling that's going to charge right through that wiring harness, and that's what's standard as we go here. Now, there are some different options you can get. We nearly always get this telescopic cylinder option. You can also get a dual ram setup with quality steel and aluminum. Those are kind of the two different ones that they have. And typically you're not going to see a price difference, which again is another advantage I think you're going to see with the brand quality steel and aluminum. And as we start to look at some of this frame structure, they're going to use a 2x6 tube as their main outer frame rails and the top rails as well. So you got a tube structure that's really strong as you go back through here, and then they're able to integrate right here the wiring all the way back down that rail so that you do not have those wires exposed. So that's kind of a nice advantage that they're able to integrate that into the tubing. That's going to mark one of the differences if you go over to their CJ heavy hauler line. They are going to use a 2x6 very heavy duty C channel. Some people have a preference whether you get tube or not. Is that going to have water that could get in it? It's not an issue that we've ever seen, but if you do want that CJ heavy hauler, it's something to possibly consider. If I move over here to their CJ heavy hauler line, I'm going to go ahead and pop this up right now. There are different stages as you go through, and as you hit a different stage in that, it's going to move that much faster. You'll notice that at some point it's going to start moving up faster, and so it will increase the speed as you hit those different stages. So we're going to just keep it in this lower setting because it does demonstrate really well what you're getting with that CJ heavy hauler. So you got a really big outer 4x6 frame rail. So they're kind of using this as their little bit more robust line. And like I said, they use a little bit thicker gauge C-channel frame up front that is 6 inches tall. So that's kind of that main framing difference as you go through. And if you noticed on the other trailer, there were ramps that were integrated into the side rail. So that's a standard on the quality steel and aluminum. Then you're gonna see ramps up here. So if we go to the back here, you're gonna see that there are some pins here, and I can actually pull out ramps. And so that's something you're gaining. I'd rather be able to pull it out, and then I can simply clip it into this rail right here. So I actually lowered it down so I could actually show you this. This is kind of something unique that quality steel and aluminum's doing. I like their system for the gate right there. Very easy to open and close off that lever. Haven't seen failures with that. If you imagine, you know, me pulling that up, all I've got to do at that point is lift up and go ahead and set this in. It's a lot easier than having to take it off around the side. Keep in mind that these are things that are just standard features on the trailer. Can you buy their original brand of quality steel and aluminum and get ramps underneath? Yes, you can, but it's an upgrade in price. So the CJ Heavy Hauler line does have a few little upgrades, and so because of that, it's going to cost just a little bit more money. I'm showing you guys that there's a little bit better build quality in that main frame, and then just a few little features here that, depending on who you are, I do have some people that prefer that side setup, but I, like I said, do prefer it right here. One thing that's nice with this brand is they're going to integrate that you could add a 2x10, a 2x12 right into this top rail, and they do give you stake pockets that you could use whether you're tying something down like the edge of your tarp, or if you want to build up some high sidewalls. Some of these brands will have low profile all the way around and will not have this integrated for a 2x10 or 2x12 to build the walls up, so it's nice that it comes as a standard. If you look inside the trailer, it's going to be very similar from quality steel and aluminum to CJ Heavy Hauler. You're going to see that there are 5 D-rings that are all the way around this trailer. Companies will do it different. Some will add a sheet of metal in here, and then you'll see a weld point. They've elected to kind of use 4 different sheets of metal and curl this up, which I think adds rigidity in here, this curled edge on the trailer. And because they do a nice job of welding, it's not going to, with that weld, go ahead and let things hang up on the metal. And then before I go, you know, all the way around that trailer, another thing that's nice that comes standard on both of these brands is they're going to give you stabilizer jacks. When I talk about things that are standard, probably the most popular trailer we sell is 7x14 and also 7x16. If you get into their smaller 6 wide, 6x12s, it will have these pockets. It's not always going to come standard with this unless you've got that 7x14 size. And then also another thing that's standard is they're going to give you the ability to feather this if you're trying to do stonework or something of that nature, and you can open or close it with that 3rd wave function that you're not going to see as a standard on every single brand. Moving up to the front of this trailer, it is a standard that you're going to see a tarp kit on that CJ Heavy Hauler. They're going to make it an option whether you can get it with the tarp kit or without on quality steel and aluminum. They do give you the option to do a lower bulkhead. So this up front on a trailer is the bulkhead, and I just think it's nice that it kind of shields some wind and you can put some things out front, adds a little bit of protection if you've got a big heavy piece of equipment that's in there. So that's a nice feature that you're going to see probably with either of these brands. It's optional to get this higher bulkhead when you go to the CJ Heavy Hauler, but when you get this big telescopic front on here, they're going to want you to get that bulkhead so that you get the tarp up above that. And so it's going to add protection against anything happening if you get that telescopic option. And then before I head around the other side of this trailer, when you plug into the truck, you're going to be charging that battery. What's nice as a standard over here with the CJ Heavy Hauler is you can plug that in overnight. Now, as long as you've got that plugged into a truck, you're not going to necessarily need this outlet hookup. Just another thing to plug in if you've been working it really hard or you don't have it plugged into a truck, but it's nice on the CJ Heavy Hauler that it's going to come standard with that option. And then as I work around the side, I just like the standard details. Is this brand doing anything crazy flashy? No, but they're keeping a quality product at an affordable price, and that's what you're going to see with this. But just simple things that they do that add rigidity. This is going to be a rub rail, but it's also, again, stuff to just tie down. It adds one more element of sturdiness to that trailer. And a lot of things as you go throughout this trailer, you're going to see lights that are recessed, that are not protruding, that are protected. You can step on these fenders, so you got a nice heavy duty fender here that you can absolutely step on. So just the rigidity of that trailer is really strong. And like I said, nothing crazy flashy going on between these two brands, but just simply a very well-made product. So whether you get the quality steel and aluminum or that CJ Heavy Hauler, you're definitely getting a well-made trailer. And if you want to get one of those, come see us in Jackson, Michigan. We'd be happy to help you out.